So how do we model equilibrium GDP? This is how we're going to model equilibrium GDP. Now, we're going to have a graph, and we're going to talk about the math behind it. So first of all, we're going to have something called the consumption function. What the consumption function means is that it's a mathematical function or a mathematical relationship between two variables. This is going to be a function that relates income and consumption. So we're going to start at the first part of GDP equals spending equals C plus G plus I. And I'm going to leave off X minus M just to make it simple. So when we talk about the 4 parts of spending or these parts of spending, the consumption function comes first. What this is it talks about consumption is a mathematical function of income. It's a direct relationship. If you recall y equals mx plus b from a math class or an algebra class, this is your intercept and this is your slope. So this is going to be a line just like y equals mx plus b. Now, what we do first is we have to say, well, what is A and what is B? A is the intercept. The term for this is autonomous consumption. Autonomous, and sometimes people talk about autonomy in terms of political independence or countries being separating from each other. Autonomous means independent. This is independent of income. All right, so that's why it's the intercept. It equals 0, or excuse me, if y equals 0, A is positive. And so you could have no income but still have some spending. So you pay your rent, it doesn't go up with your income. But you can buy better food and better clothes. Higher income people do have a better car. All right, that depends on their income. But the basics, some spending is independent of income. All right, so the B part is something you may have seen before. It is the MPC, or the marginal propensity to consume. It is between 0 and 1, and it is the fraction of additional income consumed. All right, and 0 is greater, or excuse me, MPC lies between 0 and 1. All right, so it can be as high as 1.0 and it can be as low as 0.0, which means that if you earn $1, you don't spend any of it. MPC has to be in between 0 and 1. All right, so this is going to be the slope of the line. All right, now the next thing about this is that when we plot this out, it's going to have an intercept of A, a slope of B, and consumption is going to rise with rising income. All right, so this is what people actually spend. But what we care about is how what people actually spend compares with this idea that it has to be equal to income. We want to know which of these points is the right point in terms of equilibrium. And so remember, economics talks about balance. Economics talks about things being lined up perfectly to be best for all individuals. We're going to find out which of these points is balanced spending. Balanced spending equaling income. No dis-saving, no pulling out of savings, no extra savings. Just the perfect point for this economy. So this is what the consumption function is going to look like. But that's not all of it, right? Remember how equilibrium in economics always talks about a crossing point? This